What's up guys, the brand new video. Today's video we gotta watch, you guys probably know, storybooth. Yeah, I really like storybooth. I really like it. If you guys don't see it, go check out their channel and subscribe to it then. And yeah, let's see it. Yeah, and I am sorry to that video with my buddy Brian. I said what I said, let's watch it. I said let's play it. I know why, but sorry guys. So let's watch it.
So my dad's a coach, right? This coach of basketball. That was the coolest thing in the world, because I got to shoot around the gym. So he had all these players.
I like basketball. Just gonna say I like basketball, not football. Where if you, some of you guys like basketball, that's good. That's good.
A guy named Brian, and he's like 6'8", but to me when I was 8, he was like 12 feet tall, or whatever. He's tall, right? So I was messing with him. I was like punching him and untying his shoe, and his shoe was like freaking like a size 18. It was the size of my head, okay? And I have a big head. So I guess I'm messing with it, right?
Big head.
Practices ended for my dad. So all of us huddled around just talking, and all of a sudden I'm standing in front of him, but I was backwards, right? Then he just looks at everybody with this little smile on his face. He just bang pantses me in. When you're 8,
oh my gosh, why dude?
You don't really wear boxers. I mean, I don't know if you guys did, but I didn't. I wore tidy whities, the whitest tidy whities in the world, and they were in a wedgie too, so you saw my butt cheeks too. So that wasn't cool. That wasn't that cool. I was crying and stuff. But then the funny thing was, once that happened, the girls' basketball team walked through. And they were just like, what? And I was crying, and I was trying to pants this 7-foot guy named Brian, and I couldn't pants him because he's so big, and I was only like 2 feet tall. But yeah, that's the story of myself getting pantsed.
Okay. Okay.
Oh my god, and we totally jumped off the cliff and had to swim all the way to shore because the dog chased us all the way.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with depression ever since I was 14. Living with depression feels like there's a ticking bomb inside you, counting down the seconds until it finally reaches 0. Then darkness surrounds all over you, and there's little to no way out. When I was 17, my self-esteem was down. I felt so alone. I just hated myself for having these problems.
Why?
The fact that I was a junior in high school was already stressful enough. But the fact that the environment at school felt way much better than at home, it was too much for me to carry. My parents are all traditional. Chores had to be done every day. The apartment had to be perfectly clean, and there wasn't one day I wouldn't be put to shame for not doing things right. If I didn't meet my mom and dad's expectation, I would get yelled at. Then senior year came along. I was afraid of turning 18 because I believed my parents would put more expectations on me. I secretly hoped they would forget my birthday. They didn't. After a stressful senior year, I finally reached my goal of graduation. But the struggle didn't end there. I still live with my parents, and the rule applied that as long as I'm under the roof, I still have to follow the rules. I will still get yelled at and be put to shame for not doing things right on the first try. One evening, I felt so alone. I gathered the courage to talk about how I felt to my dad. It was something I was afraid of doing. Talk about my feelings to any of my parents, because I would always end up feeling even worse than when I began. Everything went downhill after I tried to confront both my mom and dad and tell them to please take it easy on me, that their high expectations was too much for me. When everything failed, I began to break down so bad. I felt pain not only mentally and emotionally, but physically. I was breathing too fast and sobbing so hard because I felt so crushed at the fact that my parents would not change their ways of applying pressure on me to be perfect. That evening, I was brought to a hospital by my therapist. I spent 10 days in the hospital before I got discharged, but I wasn't ready to go back to my parents' house. I had barely begun to value myself, to accept myself, to know I am worth something, and that I have the right to make choices. So I arranged things with my best friend, and currently I am staying there until I am ready to go back to my parents. To gather plenty of armor against the many struggles I will have to face them in the future. My depression is something that makes my life a little challenging, but the thing is, I love challenges. Bring it on.
So, that was cool.
Oh my god, we totally jumped.
There are people in our lives that make us feel safe.
Mean mom, nice. Oh, I actually see this one. Her dad, her dad he takes easy on him, but her mom don't take easy on her. He slaps her, punch her. Oh, my mom and dad don't punch me or slaps me. Oh my god.
Safe and loved and respected. And then for some of us out there are people in our lives that are supposed to make us safe and loved and respected, but they don't do their job. My entire life I've had a wonderful father who has made so many sacrifices for me and taken care of me so that I could have a better future. Unfortunately, I can't say the same about my mother. From a young age, I was always ridiculed, teased, and taunted by my mom. And whenever I did something wrong, I wasn't properly sat down and disciplined. I was yelled at and smacked even sometimes. I grew up with a very low self-esteem because my mom would say things like, "You're terrible, I don't like you, I don't love you at all. I think that you're a big burden to this family. What sin could I have possibly committed to have had you as a kid?" And she thought that all of these words would just brush over and that I would realize that she somehow didn't mean them. But she said them so many times that I don't think she doesn't believe them. In fact, I'm quite sure that she means everything that she says. And as a result, it has lowered my self-esteem and my self-worth, and it has made me do things like cutting and inflicting self-harm. As a young adult, even now, I suffer with this. Of course, I've stopped inflicting self-harm, but I have struggled with my self-worth so much. Whenever I look into the mirror, I can't see a girl that I love and appreciate. I can't see somebody that is strong and independent. I see someone who's weak and who's been broken and shattered by a negative influence all her life. To those of you out there who are struggling because of some negative influence in your life, whether it be your parents or an ex-best friend or an ex-boyfriend or a bully or anything, please remember that you're not alone, that you don't deserve to suffer this way, and nobody should be able to say that to you. You are wonderful, compassionate human beings, and you have so much to offer this world. Don't let this negative influence take over your life anymore.
So guys, this was my video. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is my bedtime. I'm just kidding. But I have to end this video. I'm sorry. My next video I'm gonna play Roblox. But my other next video I'm gonna play Zula or Team Fortress 2 if I can. So bye. I'm sorry it's show 3. I'm sorry. Subscribe. Please subscribe. If you don't, I'm gonna cry then. Bye.